yesterday. It was fun to see the team get excited and rally around Raheem and his eligibility. He's a special young man. He's made a large impact on our team in a short period of time. I do want to thank our compliance team, Derek Gwynn. It's nice to see them get to smile and be happy too for fighting the battle for Raheem. Tomorrow we'll go through a really brief kicking scrimmage heading in towards will probably be our last scrimmage in a couple days. So guys have been doing well. Obviously there's a lot going on. I've been proud of our kids, and they had a good workout today.
All right, we'll open up for questions. Mike Nizilik, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot going on. There's been a spike in cases with Tech, and they're kind of monitoring everything. Is that something you get reports on and then discuss with players? I mean, how kind of cognizant have you been to kind of what's been happening with that, with kind of the dashboard and things like that?
I would say we're in the same position as the student body. I mean, we're dealing with it as well. So to say things change every day, who we've got, who we don't got, would be an accurate statement. I mean, we're in the middle of it. Kids are on campus. We're no different than the general population in terms of trying to handle all of it.
And football-wise, have you made it through kind of the first month healthy, non-COVID related? Any injuries that you anticipate kind of keeping guys out for the opener?
Nasir Peoples will be out for the year. Really unfortunate non-contact injury. He'd been making huge strides. Other than that, knock on wood, we've been in pretty good shape.
Thanks.
Not that we haven't had our issues, but nothing
right
like what Nasir's dealing with.
Norm Wood, let's go to you.
Hey, Justin, after what you went through in trying to, you guys, I know it wasn't necessarily up to you, but with the rescheduling of the NC State game and watching all that take place, to find out that they were, again, practicing on Monday, again, it's out of your control, nothing you can do about it. But I'm not saying that they had the whole team available. Obviously, there are probably still some guys that are in their coronavirus protocol, but based on the fact that they would have had 2 full weeks to practice and prepare if the game had been at its originally scheduled date, does it kind of make you wonder if there's a better way to do this at this point? I mean, obviously we're all doing this for the first time, and you're not going to have this leave time during the course of the season, but just wondered if it kind of made you pause.
Well, I mean, my answer to that would be simple. I have no idea what the requisites are to play or not play a game. No clue.
All right, let's go to Mike Barber.
I mean, and I don't mean to be flippant, but I mean, I just don't know. Nobody knows. To my knowledge, I don't know who makes the call. I don't know how it all works. How many people you have to have? Is it position related? Is it total guys? Do they count walk-ons? Do they not count walk-ons? I have no idea.
So that's not something
that add to our anxiety 100%. I mean, and I'm not talking about NC State. I'm just talking about in football. Like, I don't know the answer to any of that right now. Here we are a couple weeks before we play, and I do not know.
Is that something? I mean, is it frustrating? I mean, obviously it's something you've never been briefed on. Is it something that there should be some ground? Do you think there should be some ground rules placed before you guys get into the season on this kind of thing?
It'd be nice. I mean, I understand how difficult a task it is too. You know what I mean? I say that.
Yeah.
I mean, football is such a different sport in terms of being so position specific. You can't line up your offensive lineman at DB, obviously. So there's it's a large number of players, but there's, it's really a much smaller number of players, right? If it hits one position group, I mean, it greatly affects not just your ability to play, but the health and safety of the other players on the field for both teams. I mean, you can imagine offensive line gets used a lot, but, there's a bunch of positions where, it's not just making sure you've got a quarterback. It's the health and safety of the other people on the field. you end up playing with guys that should never be out there to begin with. I mean, we have a bunch of great kids in our program, and some of them are really, really young and underdeveloped and are not ready to play in an ACC football game. Are we going to count those guys? Are we not? Nobody really knows, and I'm not criticizing the fact, because I do believe it is a very difficult decision to make, but I do not know what they are.
Thanks.
Mike Barber.
Hey, Coach, exactly what I kind of wanted to ask you about right there. As you consider the possibility of contact tracing knocking out like a whole position group, what have you done to avoid that? And have you worked extra with kind of cross-training guys, maybe doing some work at other spots in case you get in a jam?
Yes, we've tried to cross-train guys the best we can to a certain degree, right? There's a level of that being impractical on some level, but we have tried to do that. Versatile players can help you with those situations. In terms of everything we do is in terms of the health and safety protocols that we have in place are designed both to prevent the spread of the virus and also help us through contact tracing, which indirectly helps us with the spread of the virus. So, I mean, the measures are endless that Mike and Doc Rogers have put in place to try and help us, from everything from how we meet to hand sanitizers on the wall to practice, and so on and so forth that we've talked about. But it's designed both to prevent the spread and also to help us through contact tracing.
And not making a joke out of it, but they always talk about the president and the vice president, not traveling together. Have you thought about ways to separate maybe your quarterback so that if you lose one, you don't lose two?
Yeah. Now that'll come into effect. First of all, ours don't live together. Now we didn't walk in there and separate them. But we did check. I mean, a couple months ago, we got all our rooming lists, and I mean, we obviously have some good players that live with each other. They may play different positions, but some high profile players. Well, I don't feel comfortable telling them they're not allowed to live with each other. I'm not going to get that invasive into their lives, but we do have a meeting and talk about understanding the people in your home and contact tracing and how that can, how important it is for us to adhere to those guidelines when we're at home, which I know is very difficult. And then you got the rooming on the road. That's part of it, which we've talked about. Obviously, we're not far enough down the road to get to all that yet.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Bitter, let's go to you.
Hey, Justin, it seems like one of Bill Tierlink's big philosophical stands is getting after the quarterback. How do you feel about your defensive line in that case this year, specifically the defensive ends where the production's maybe been a little bit limited in recent years?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've made some strides there. I do think, that's always been an emphasis for Bill and basically his family, like in terms of, being specialists in terms of pass rush. Early in camp, we went through some soft tissue injuries with some of those guys that held them out for a little while. So I think that hurt us a little bit early in camp. They're now coming around and kind of coming together, and the next week or so I think will be really important as we kind of get a full group of healthy guys out there working with Tapp and Tierlink to help improve that.
I know a couple of weeks ago, you kind of uncertain what would happen to Taiwan Garbett this year. Is he back at all, or did you expect him at all this year?
Yeah, he's going to school. He's not with the team right now. No, I mean, he comes by the office. We see him. I mean, I saw him yesterday for a little while. He came out to practice. So he's going to school. He's not with the football team right now.
All right, WSLS TV.
Hey, Coach, this is Eric Johnson here. Just your thoughts on, now that you have Raheem there in the backfield and ready for this season, what does this kind of do for your offense in terms of being able to open things up and be a little bit more dynamic?
Well, the thing about Raheem is, he has a unique skill set in terms of He has receiver skill sets, and also, he's still a physical player, can line up and play running back. But I think what makes him unique is his intelligence. I mean, this is a kid that's a fantastic student. Is almost obsessed about getting things done correctly. We'll literally badger the assistant coach all the way out onto the field, making sure he understands the assignments and what he's going to be doing, because he's going to be moved around quite a bit. It's important to him to get it right. So those guys are fairly unique, guys that have the talent, but also are intelligent and have this burning desire to make sure they get things right all the time. Can make them pretty fun to coach.
David Teal.
Justin, if I misinterpreted you in your opening response, please correct me, but it sounds like you have had within the team some COVID infections. As your roster is currently constituted, with what you went to practice today with, could you have played a football game?
Well, yeah, we've had some of that with kind of in line with the student population. What does can you play a game mean? Like, can you line up 11 people out there? Can you field a team? Or how competitive are you going to be? Or what's it going to look like? And is it safe? So can we play? Yeah. But, there's all that gray that I think it's hard to figure out right now. And, if that's answering that part of the question is maybe more important than can you? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. But, at what point do we reach the point of it not being very safe?
Have you spoken with Doc Rogers and or Witt about when you will get specific answers as to to your questions that you voiced previously about this?
Yeah, I have. And, they have the same concerns. I understand it all. So, I really don't want this whole thing to sound like I'm complaining. I'm not. It's just we're getting close to playing games, and there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. So, yeah, Witt understands that we don't know those things. I'm confident people are working on those answers. But there's just a lot of variables at play there in trying to determine those answers. And, as a result, we don't have them yet.
Thank you.
WDBJ. All right. Then let's go to Mark Davis.
Did you guys hear him and I couldn't? Or no? Okay.
Hey, Coach, thanks a lot for doing this. Kind of piggybacking off one of David's questions there. It's understatement to say it's unparalleled times right now, but when you're navigating through this and, leading a group of guys, how has this challenged you or taken its toll on you personally, and how have you kind of handled all that?
I'm a basket case. I've tried my best to heed my own advice. We just got finished talking about it as a team, is we have to control what we can control. I used to make a long-term plan and adjust and make small adjustments to it as we went through the process. So let's take fall camp leading up to the first game. Make a long-term plan, small adjustments as you work through what we need more of or less of. In this case, I've had 3 or 4 long-term plans that have all been wadded up and thrown away and had to make new ones. And now we're focusing on today. What can we organize today? Like David asked me if we could play a game today. And in my mind, it was, how can we practice today? I didn't really put myself in how to play a game today mode. I put myself in how can we maximize our kids' time and get the most benefit out of a practice today. But, it's become short-term you've got a long-term plan, but you have to take it step by step. So, I hope according to our coaches and players, they would say I've been handling it fine, but it just changes so much. Your information changes, and the best way to try and handle it is to cut it loose and try to go have some fun on the field and work hard and deal, play the hand you're dealt the best you can play it. But deep in your heart, they're keeping score too, and that's the part about this whole thing. Like, we're not getting ready to play preseason games. We're getting ready to play real games that are going to go in the record book. There's a trophy on the line, and more than a trophy, but, the first game is a rivalry game. You have we have maybe the hardest schedule we've had. I mean, it's all conference games. So, it prevents you from skipping out there and saying everything's going to be all right, because that there are real games on the horizon that are going to go down in history. They're going to be in the record books, and they're going to count.
Do you have a process or like a thing that you do to kind of keep yourself in check mentally, like at the end of a day or anything like that, or, just to kind of reset yourself mentally, or is that just not possible where we are?
I usually lay down and fall asleep in about 8 seconds, and then wake up pretty early in the morning and start the next day. So now I don't really have a reset. I do have good people around me. I'll say that, from my go forth and our medical staff to our assistant coaches. Some of them have been with me for a long time. Some of them haven't been. They've been a good resource. I try to, I use Ben quite a bit. I go get a 45-minute to an hour lift every day. And during that time, it kind of helps me kind of reset a little bit. So I have good people around me. My wife does a great job handling it as well. So, I'd say that's been a big strength or something that's helped me out quite a bit, are the surrounding people.
All right, let's go back to Anthony Romano.
Hey, Coach, sorry about that. I know you mentioned Raheem earlier on. We got, I guess, Khalil coming up a little bit later too, and then obviously with Jalen back in the mix. How do you feel just about the state of that running back room and what they can bring to the table for you guys this year?
Well, I'm excited about him. Obviously, Jalen had a really good offseason last year and had the unfortunate event where he broke his leg in the first game, and has come back from COVID in great condition, has been really good on special teams through fall camp. I think it's going to be a contributor, not just at tailback on this football team. Khalil has played quite a bit and certainly has shown flashes of talent. Raheem, getting him fully in the fold and his versatility. I mean, you can't help but get, a little bit excited about what those guys may be able to do. And we're going to need all of them. You get excited about it, then you think about who may be out or who might be out or who might not be in front of them or who might not be playing defense. And can you get up, and then you start to drive yourself crazy with the what ifs. But, as it stands right now, I feel good about the development. You've still got Keyshawn, who's shown flashes of being a pretty explosive player.
Jermaine Farrell.
Well, good morning, Coach. Thanks for your time. Obviously, the news coming out that there won't be any tailgating, and wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, sorry. The fan experience is going to be a little bit different than in previous years. Just your thoughts about that. And two more other sidebar questions. Number one, will we see a bunch of Justin Fuente cutouts in the stands? And what is your maximum lift as far as the bench?
I don't know that you're going to see any cardboard cutouts in the stands of me. I did see somebody posted that there'll be a Mike Vick one in there, which I think is perfect. Yeah, I hate it for our fans. I also understand it. We're just in unprecedented times, and everybody's making sacrifices, and that's part of it. And but I hate it because it's more than it's. We all know that it's more than just a game here at Virginia Tech, and we know it's an experience. It's camaraderie. It's like a vacation, and people build their calendars. They have weddings around Virginia Tech football games. They have major life altering events that they,
Oh, you got to give us give us some number, Coach. Where are you?
No.
Jermaine, I'll fill you
More
in
than
on
you.
that offline. And Kurtz.
You probably can outlift me. You can outlift me.
Hank
Hey,
Kurtz.
Justin. Have you detected or noticed a rise in the number of cases on the football team since the general population students came back?
Certainly. I mean, we're in line with them. Like before there were students, we had very few cases. I'm not blaming it on the students. It's just a fact. I mean, people have come back to campus and there's just more people around. There's more traffic in the streets. There's longer lines at Chipotle. I mean, it's just part of the deal. So, yeah, I mean, we've been in line with what we've seen from the student population.
And have you had any instances where a whole group of one position got sick or had to quarantine?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Gene Wong.
Hey, Justin, I don't know if you can give kind of a percentage estimate to this type of stuff, but how much time would you say you spend ensuring the safety protocols are followed with your team in a day or a given practice, however you want to break it down, as opposed to getting plays installed and getting players better? And is it even possible to have anything close to a practice you'd like to have as the real games start approaching?
Oh, I mean, I would say that we can practice certainly under the guidelines. You know what I mean? Like I would say that we can pull off a practice. It's just, you know, there's a lot more than just the guidelines involved here. There's obviously people that aren't there. There's, you know, the anxiety that our young people are going through. I brought this up a couple times, and I mean, there's quite a bit there. You know, the uncertainty of the season, of not wanting to get sick, of what does it actually mean? I mean, as we all know, there's a lot of conflicting opinions about a lot of things out there right now. And, you know, I think, you know, there's a percentage of our time that's dealt with handling that part of it, you know, kind of the mental and emotional strain that these kids are under, not just because of football, but, you know, I mean, you think about this too. I mean, these kids, you know, here in a couple of weeks, you're going to get tested 3 times a week. So 3 times a week, somebody's going to tap them on the shoulder and either say, you're good to go, or no, you've got to come with me. I mean, that's 3 times a week for every game. I mean, there's a little bit of strain that comes with that, as you can imagine. I mean, you work all this time to get to play, and, you know, in many cases, our kids feel okay. So, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is we've spent as much time on just trying to understand and work around the emotional strain that some of our young people are under with all the things that they're dealing with right now.
Couple follow-ups, and then we'll move to our student athletes. Mike Nizilik.
Yeah, you talked about the running game. Is there a statistic that kind of points to your struggles over the last couple of years? Is there something that stands out to you that, you know, kind of sums up, you know, where you guys have kind of struggled a little bit to kind of get it going?
No.
Nothing specific?
Yeah, I'll let you ask another one if you want, but I don't have a good staff for you, Mike. Like, I'm not into all that.
Sure. Have you guys decided if you're staying the night before home games in Roanoke?
I haven't been involved in that discussion here lately. I have built the plan as if we are. I mean, if I'm told otherwise, then we can always adjust, but
and then was
I haven't had that discussion in some time, I guess is what I'd say, Mike. It's been a while since we've talked about that.
Sure. And was Nasir at safety or was he at corner?
Nasir?
Yeah, where was he at?
Safety.
All right, one more. David Teal, do you have anything else for us?
Justin, were most of your positive cases asymptomatic? And did you then suspect upon retesting that there might have been some false positives involved?
I'd say by and large, a large portion of our, over the course of this time, have been asymptomatic. I haven't had any thoughts towards false positives or anything like that. They say they're positive whether they got symptoms or not. We're following the same protocol.
And how much of a role will Raheem play in the return game?
I'd say he's more than capable at punt returner and kickoff returner. So, I mean, I think he'll have a role there. Again, I would lean on the fact that who knows who will be available from week to week. So as many people as we can cross-train in those roles, the better off we've got a chance to be. But, I feel confident that we could put him out there as both a kick returner or a punt returner right now. And be pretty good. Now, with that being said, if we play tomorrow, Tavion's going back there as the punt returner. But Raheem will definitely have a chance to return kickoffs.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll push pause here for a moment and move to our student athletes. So stand by, folks. Thank you.